everyone! Thank you for joining us for this new Burda style video. Today we will be presenting model 5C, which can be found on the cover of the issue Burda Easy number 4 from July to August 2022. Together we will make this beautiful and timeless blouse, which is an essential element of your wardrobe. It features a small collar and 3/4 length sleeves. Plus, the cut along the front and back make it a classic that goes with just about any look. This raspberry colored fabric is organic double gauze, which you can find on the website of our partner C Poly. As far as supplies goes, you will need matching thread, pins, a sewing machine needle, a hand sewing needle, sewing scissors, a tape measure, chalk or a pencil, a pen, a ruler, a tracing wheel, Burda style tracing paper, interfacing, bias tape, and buttons. Don't forget to take your measurements and compare them with those in your magazine. This will help you find the perfect fit for you. Now cut out pieces 1 to 5 from pattern sheet number 3 and place these on the fabric according to the cutting layout. Transfer the outline of the pieces and then add the seam allowances and notches found in the instructions in your magazine. I'm using a tracing wheel and a tracing paper to transfer the lines and notches onto the opposite side of the fabric. Before I remove the pins from my cut pieces, I carefully place the paper underneath the fabric and then run the tracing wheel along the pattern and over the notches. Please refer to the instructions for your tracing paper for more details. Now cut out the interfacing for pieces 1, 3, and 5 and iron this on the back side of each piece. I'm using the Elna Excellence 580 Plus sewing machine to sew this piece and the Elna Extend 864 Air overlocker to neaten the edges. Now I start with the back pieces. I neaten the allowances of the middle part of the back. Then I pin the middle back piece to the upper back piece, right sides together. I stitch the allowances and finish with a back stitch at each end. Now I press the seam open. I place the lower back piece on top of the upper back piece, right sides together, and pin the separating back seam. I stitch the allowances starting at notch 2 and finish this with a back stitch at each end. Now I neaten the allowances together, leaving only 7 millimeters. I press the seam towards the upper back. Then I move on to the front pieces of the top. I place the upper front pieces on the lower front pieces, right sides together, and pin the allowances of the front pieces separating seam. I stitch the allowances starting at notch 1 and then neaten them together, leaving only 7 millimeters of seam. Now I press the allowances towards the upper piece. Then I place the front piece on the back piece, right sides together, and pin the shoulder seams and sleeve edge together. I stitch the allowances starting at notch 3 and finish with a back stitch at each end. Now I neaten the edges together, leaving only 7 millimeters of seam. I press the seam towards the back and top stitch it 5 millimeters from the shoulder and sleeve seams. I move on to the collar and bias tape. I place the collar pieces right sides together and pin the front and outside edges. I stitch them, trim the allowances, clip the corners, and turn the collar right side out. I press the seams and top stitch the seam 5 millimeters from the edge. I place the open edge of the collar on the neckline, right sides together, making sure that the front edge of the collar matches up with the middle front of the blouse and that the shoulder seam matches up with the collar notch. I pin the allowances and stitch with large stitches 5 millimeters from the edge. You can also baste if you'd like. I unfold the folded edges of the bias tape and then press it to fold it in half. I neaten the edge of the facing, then fold it at the fold line towards the outside over the collar. I then place the open edges of the bias tape on the collar and the facing as I pin. The ends of the bias tape are on the facing. Now I stitch. I trim the allowances and clip the curves. I fold the facings inwards, press them, and then press the bias tape down over the seam. I pin the bias tape to the neckline and top stitch it 5 mm from the collar seam. Here, the bias tape should be part of the stitching. Second to last step, the sides and hems. I place the front piece on the back piece, right sides together, and pin the side allowances as well as the allowances under the arm. I stitch in one go, starting at notch 5, and finish it off with back stitches at each end. Now I neaten the edges together, leaving only 7 mm of the seam. Then I neaten the hem of the sleeves and blouse. I press the hem allowances towards the wrong side and stitch it at 1 centimeter from the edge. I finish with the buttonholes and buttons. I've marked the buttonhole placements on the right side of the front piece and the button placements on the left side of the front piece according to my size. I place a button in the foot, which allows the machine to make the buttonhole according to the size of the button. I open the buttonholes and then sew on the buttons. And there you are, the blouse is finished! Our models range from size 34 to 44 and come in several versions. Don't forget to watch the other tutorial from this magazine. It's a halter top that is perfect for summer. Feel free to share your creations with us and other sewing enthusiasts on our social networks. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll see you soon for a new model. Burda Style thanks and recommends its sewing machine partners Elna and C. Polly. Thank you for following us and see you soon for a new Burda Style tutorial.